Hi, well, I'm here with Alberto Ambard, and we're here to celebrate Crime Month. And Alberto, I know you're a fan of crime fiction, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your favorite crime novel to celebrate Crime Month.
Well, I'm actually going to read again because of Crime Month a book that I really, really like. It's called Perfume. And it's really not considered a crime book for whatever reason, even though it's about a person that is committing crimes on a daily basis. It's a guy who is a serial killer. And what I like about this book, and these are the type of books that I like, is the books that are existential in a way. They're very much character driven, and they go a lot about what's going on inside the main character. In this case, the assassin. It's an amazing book because I don't know of any other book in any genre that describes smells in the way this book does. It's about a person who has this incredible olfactory sense, I guess, and he can smell anything, objects. He can take a smell apart into different parts. He can take your smell into different parts, and none of it excites him. He wants to be the best perfume maker on earth, and decides one day to look for the perfect perfume, and he finally finds it when he encounters a young virgin girl, and he kills her to extract the perfume from her or something in that sense, and that begins the serial killing. Sounds kind of silly because it is kind of silly, but the descriptions in the book on smell and really the work on the character is amazing. It is written by a German writer named Patrick Suskind. He stopped writing, unfortunately, but he wrote 4 books. This book became even a movie, it was a big hit. And it's the crime and punishment, I feel, of the modern era, I guess, or the contemporary era. It's amazing how the character is developed, and so I really, really love it.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. And I don't know if you remember from the Silence of the Lambs movie, but Hannibal Lecter had quite a developed olfactory sense as well
Right,
when he
good
was
point.
smelling the different papers and things like that and cologne. So it seems like a sort of extension of that, and Dexter and a lot of other, inside the mind of
Yeah.
a serial killer type thing. So those are fascinating to me, and the psychology of it. And you've got me interested enough to check it out. So thank you.
Check it out. And
Yeah,
how about
absolutely.
you, David? What are you what are you doing for the Crime Month, I guess?
Well, I have a story in the Hard Boiled and Loaded with Sin anthology, and it's called The Bullet Train, and it's about a detective on vacation in Germany, taking a very casual train trip from Darmstadt, which is not far from Frankfurt, up to Heidelberg. And he meets a mysterious woman on the train, and becomes entranced, and she quickly asks for his help because there's somebody on the train that's there to kill her.
Hmm.
And she hands him a gun out of her pocketbook, and it gets very serious very quickly. So that's my story in celebration of Crime Month and the crime anthology Hard Boiled and Loaded with Sin. But my favorite story on a train goes way back to, it's a classic. It's Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, and you're probably very familiar with it. But for any viewers that aren't, you've got Hercule Poirot, which is a fantastic character who is crime solving another case in Jerusalem about a stolen religious artifact. He solves that, and he's looking just to get sort of a quiet passage back to London from that part of the world. And of course, it's a multi-day trip on a luxury train called the Orient Express. And before he can have a day of relaxing, almost, he's caught up in a murder of one of the passengers on the train. And Poirot is just one of those larger of life characters, which is one reason why I love him in this, and he's in a series of her books, because he's a Belgian with a lot of quirks and idiosyncrasies. He's very precise about how he speaks. how he dress, and even how he prepares his eggs in the morning. So
Mhm.
he's kind of I think the modern day Monk character, in the Monk series is very much playing off Perrault's quirkiness. And then you've got the setting of a train, which I think I've always been captivated by them. I think as soon as you've got a train in your story, you've got an opening for suspension of disbelief by the reader. Anything can happen on a train. You can fall in love. You can just as easily get a ransom note in your napkin while you're in the dining car. So truly anything can happen, and it's always has a sense of magic and adventure that people immediately identify with, because you're on this moving transport through varying landscapes, and it works whether you're Harry Potter going to Hogwarts on the train, or whether you're Jonathan Harker, in going through the Carpathian Mountains to visit the lonely Count Dracula and his castle. So, trains have been put to great effect in a lot of literature, and definitely the train, which is a luxury train of the Orient Express, is no different. So I think the elements of the train and Perrault, and then there's a masterful stroke of further isolating the characters, who at this point are all suspects, murder suspects, with an avalanche, really brings the book to a dramatic head. So I'd say in terms of crime or detective novels, Murder on the Orient Express is my favorite, and my short story, The Bullet Train, is a little bit of homage to a detective on a train story. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel that I read that the Murder of the Orient Express, and I actually just saw the movie. They made a movie out of it, and surprisingly, it's quite good. And
yes.
there is also a sense of romanticism, not romance between two people, but just romanticism when it comes to a train. And I would agree that it's an incredible setting, and even better for for a crime novel. I look forward to reading your story and some of the other stories in that collection. Um, that's certainly one of my favorite books as well.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoy it. And what is your story about in Hard Boiled and Loaded with Sin?
Well, my story, it's not that Simenon or Agatha Christie type of crime. It's more on the lines of perfume, in two senses. One is that a lot of what's going on, it's happening in the character's mind, and this is about a woman that has to leave her country because of the social conditions of her country. But in order to do so, she has to enter a incredible line of corruption or corruptive acts, one after the others, because corruption has been normalized in the country, and you can't really survive, or in this case, leave the country without going through such amount of corruption. And what I guess it makes it in a way interesting, just as perfume as an example. And I think that this happens a lot with movies that all those classic 1940 crime movies, and there is that the characters always enters this obscure path. The main character, the hero, always enters this obscure path, and sometimes he himself or her herself enters this corruption or even crime, but there's a justification for it, or at least they justify it for some reason. And this is the case in this novel. And the reason being, she's in a way a victim of a larger, problem, I guess. And so it's a more character-driven story, and a story that has a bit more of, I would say that crime is the vehicle to tell the story, but it's not necessarily what's driving it.
Wow. Okay. Well, I can't wait to check it out. A lot of the stories I think are going to have, a primary villain and a, hero or heroine. But I think it sounds like yours is almost systematic oppression and,
Systematic,
escaping
yes.
that. And that's, that's a very fascinating spin on it. So I
Yeah, I
look
just
forward to
watched recently a Japanese movie by Akira Kurosawa, and it's his first movie. It's a noir movie, and it's Japanese noir, which is strange. But in any case, the entire movie goes around a gun that was stolen and by a policeman, and the policeman is trying to find this gun, and crimes are being committed in the process with the gun. And in the process of him trying to find the wrong person, once again, he enters into the the dark side of Tokyo, and he himself become part of that dark side, and it's all in his head, justified to the fact that he's a policeman and he's trying to find his gun. So that's that type of I don't know what to call it, dual scene going on inside. I find it fascinating.
Yeah, and so often these stories catch the primary character in a web that's threatening to them, as well as the person that's asking for their help. I mean, Angel Heart is a movie that I always loved, and
good example.
Immediately the detectives caught up in something much bigger than he reckoned for, with entire voodoo religion. He's got to face supernatural elements as well as physical. I also enjoy The Ninth Gate, and Johnny Depp is really at odds with an entire satanic cult. So that's really takes them to a different level of trouble than what they bargained for. And they're and originally they're just trying to, a lot of these characters are unscrupulous themselves, and they're doing it for financial gain and trying to make a buck. And it's kind of money corrupts, and in a way there's an implication that they get what they sold their souls for. So it's David, there's a great duality there with what you're talking about.
Are you aside this? I know you not only write, I mean, you have this story in this collection, but I know you write other things other than what this other than these short stories. Is there something else that you're writing now?
Well, I'm actually working with Devil's Party Press through the horror imprint Gravelight Press for, I call it sort of my greatest hits, but I'm bringing all my short stories together. And David and I at Devil's Party Press decided it made sense to organize it into 2 volumes. So one will come out in 2023 and one in 2024. And the big division is traditional horror, which is sort of werewolves and zombies and vampires, and then cosmic horror, which is more of my Lovecraftian horror or cosmic horror, with more of a sci-fi twist. So it's a lot of these were done already, but we've done a lot of revision, and Dave has been very engaged with the editorial process, and he's put some new spins on the story. So I think a lot of it is a new spin on some content that maybe has been percolating for a while. But I have big hopes for a trilogy of 3 novels, but you've got to start with the first one. So that's always that's my big challenge. I'm a crafter of short stories, and to do something novel length would be, in my mind, a major accomplishment. So
yeah,
that's on the radar.
That all sounds great. And I think horror, I mean, I guess it depends, but you can argue that there could be in some of those stories the element of crime as well, right?
Absolutely. I have a story about a little bit, maybe something you'd enjoy, like Perfume, about a college professor that's a serial killer that's killing co-eds on his campus where he teaches, but he sees a figure called Mr. Bones that is sort of, in his mind, directing him to do these killings, but it's a figment of his imagination, of course. But to him, it's very real. This kid even sits in the shotgun in the passenger seat, directing him where to go and who to pick. So so there's a few psychological serial killer type stories in the collection. Yeah,
I'll look forward to it.
So yeah, please, I'm happy to get you a copy. And it'd be great praise if you say one of them's like Perfume. So that's that's next on my list. So love to check it out.
Yeah, well, it's really nice to be talking about this, and I'm definitely looking forward to the collection of short stories that Devil Press has put together. And I got myself a few copies because I'm gonna be giving them away to some friends as well who likes reading, and especially people that enjoy crime. It's very refreshing. I know it sounds strange, but it's crime, and it can be, but it's refreshing. It keeps you engaged.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry if I missed it. What was the title of your story? So we don't miss that.
Oh, my title is Living.
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 Okay.
From leaving a place.
Leaving. Leaving. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And go ahead.
no,
And-
it's a simple living. It's a simple title that says exactly what goes on in the novel, I guess. I'm
Okay.
still in the short story.
And do you have longer works planned as well? Are you working on a project?
Yeah, I mean, I published a book years ago by now, and it was, I guess, for an indie author and first time was a good hit. It sold almost 5,000 copies, and
That's
it was
tremendous.
reviewed by BBC and by Miami Herald and Univision and some other
Wow,
people.
congratulations. That's great sales.
Yeah, it was great. It's called High Treason.
High
And
treason. Okay.
it was well received, let's just say it. And I am kind of writing part two of that book. Well, I wrote it already. I wrote it in English, and I'm in the process of translating it into Spanish, with the idea that, I don't know, where am I going to publish it, or who is going to publish it. Nowadays publishing fiction is difficult, as you know. And so we'll see if somebody's interested in taking it. And besides that, I have some other short stories published already with other in other collections. I have 3 stories, including one of them with Devil Press, and that was a few years ago. And I think that's about it. So right now, just working on the translation, really.
Okay. And do you have an author page, or what's the best way to find you?
Yeah, good question. I should ask you the same. It's my name. It's www.albertoambard.com. So it's ALBERTO, Alberto, and then the last name is AMBARD, like David, like you.
Great. And yeah, my site is very similar. It's David Fulcher without any punctuation.com. So it's you get my blog posts and all of my writings going on there as well. So but I definitely want to check yours out. And now, would you say High Treason is in this crime noir genre, or something totally different?
There's quite a bit of crime in
Okay.
High Treason, but I would say it is, well, people will argue what is historical fiction, how far it has to go. I consider it historical fiction because when I wrote it, maybe it wasn't, but now, or maybe even in just a few years, it will be considered historical fiction, because it's about something real, and it's something that happened and changed a society. And I use fictional characters. I don't know if you know Dominique Lapierre and Larry Collins. They've done a lot of historical fiction. In a way, it's similar to what they used to do. So you have a fictional characters going through a fictional story, but behind that, or what they're living, it's all real. It's all historical, and it's very accurate.
Wow, that's fantastic. So
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so
High Treason. Okay.
Yeah, just check it out. And again, just as you said, I'll return the favor, and if you're interested, I'll send you a copy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do a book swap. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, hey, good luck with everything. And as I said, I'm waiting for my copies of Hard Boiled, and really, really looking forward to that collection.
Yeah, me as well. I've got a couple of friends that I bought a couple extras to pass out. So I think it's got a great cover. It's got great authors.
The cover is fantastic.
Yeah. Fantastical. Yeah. So I look forward to receiving those in the mail and passing them out as well to friends and family. So I'm glad we're mutually excited, and hopefully that's good news for Devil's Party Press and Hawkshaw Press. Yeah. So good stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff for sure.
Yes. Well, it's been a pleasure, and I wish you all the best with your second installment of High Treason, and I think hopefully we'll get 10,000 on this one. Double the sales, and why not, right? Shoot for the moon. So
Thank you very much, and good luck for you as well.
thank you so much, Alberto. It's been a pleasure.
Bye. See ya.
Thank you, man.